This is the video for 7.4, the first one for 7.4 or 6.4 in the 6th edition. And we're going to talk about determinants. So every square matrix, we're still talking about square matrices, the special cases of these. Every square matrix has a determinant that it's a number we can assign to this matrix. And we're going to talk about the notation for that and how to find it. So a matrix usually has these square brackets, right? So you see that they come in on the edges, right? It's the actual bracket. A determinant, if we want just the determinant, we just use the straight up and down line. So it's like saying the absolute value, right? That's how we write it. So when it's just the straight line and it's not in at the end, this is the determinant. That's what that means, that you would find the determinant. Now, this is a matrix, right? This is a number. Okay, we've changed it into a number. Now, we'll start with a 2 by 2. It's really a simple little process to find the determinant. You start in this upper left-hand corner. We multiply these numbers going down across the corner, right? 1 times 4 is 4. And then we subtract going the other way. Okay? So 2 times 3 is 6. And then we just do the subtraction and we get a -2. So the determinant of this matrix is -2. So we're taking a matrix, we're turning it into a number. And that's a 2 by 2. So to do a 3 by 3, we're going to expand it and change it into 2 by 2. So we always can go down 1. So to do a 4 by 4, we would expand it and change them into 4 3 by 3s, and then we take each 3 by 3 and change them into 2 by 2. So the process that we're going to learn next can be used for any size matrix. Okay, so here is a 3 by 3. We want to find the determinant of this 3 by 3. So we're going to look at this going across just the top row. So we kind of call this expanding on a row or column, and we'll talk about how it changes if you use a different one. So we're going to go across this top row right here, right? So we'd start by so we're going to look first of all at just that 2. Okay? So the first number is a 2. It's like I'm going to cross off the row and the column that have the 2 in it. Alright, and then I'm going to write the determinant of what's left. Okay? So we call this the minor of 2, right? So when you take the 2, you cross off the row and column it's with, you have the minor that we put with that determinant. Okay, now I'm going to subtract. So it's going to go add, subtract, however many there were on this row. So now I have my 3. If it were a -3 in my matrix, then I would subtract it and it would become a +3, right? So you get the idea. This sign, this subtract here, has nothing to do with whether that number happens to be positive or negative. Okay, and now I need to cross off the row and column that have to do with that 3. So the top row again, and now it's the middle one that has to do with that 3. And I'm going to write the determinant of what's left. Okay, now I'm going to be back to plus again. And this time it's a -1. And I write the determinant of what's left when I cross off the row in the column that has that -1 in it. And what's left here is 0 to -2, 5. All right, so now I have these 2 by 2 determinants, and those I know how to do, right? So the 2, and then the determinant of this one would be 2 times 6 is 12 minus 4 times 5 is 20. There's 3, and the determinant of this one would be 0 times 6, which is 0, minus 4 times -2, which is -8, and plus, well, this is -1, so I'm going to make this minus, and I've got 0 times 5 is 0, minus -4, so that would be plus 4, right? This is really a plus 8 because it was minus a negative. All right, so let's see what we have. 2 times, so 12 minus 20 is -8. And so I have 2 times -8 is -16. I have 3 times 8, so that would be minus 24, minus 4. So that's 30, 44. So -44. That's the determinant for this matrix. So we found this determinant by expanding on that top row. And you notice that, we added, and then we subtracted, and then we added again, right? And that's the only thing that might change if we wanted to do it on a different row or column. You can do it either way, row or column. So the thing that you see when you do it is that if you use the number in this first column, it's always going to be a plus. If you use the number in the second one, it's always going to be a subtract. And that just keeps going. Suppose we had a 4 by 4, they would look like that, right? And it turns out that it's going to be in like a checkerboard, right? So if this one started with a plus, the next one starts with a minus. And it just goes every other one. So wherever you start, whatever row or column you want to do, it just alternates. Okay, so whether it's a 3 by 3, if you're going to use a 3 by 3, we would just be looking at these plus and minuses, right? If you wanted to do a 5 by 5, we would have to do one more, but it would just be alternating whatever the next thing was. So let's try expanding it on a different row. So we'll do the same one, and let's expand it on the third column, right? So we're going to expand on this column. All right, so then we start with the third one over, and if you remember from our chart we just looked at, it is plus minus plus, right? So I'm going to add. It's going to start with a -1. Okay, now I'm going to cross off the row and the column with the -1, and that's going to be the determinant I have left. So the next one, if that was plus, the next one is minus, and it's going to be a 4. Okay, so now I'm going to cross off the row and the column that have a 4 in it, and write the numbers that are left as a matrix, right? So I did plus and then minus, and now I'm doing plus again. And it's cross off the row and the column with that 6. So I have the 6, and what's left is 2, 3, 0, 2. And now I can just add these up. I got a negative 0 times 5. I'm just going to go ahead and do all these determinants. So I first do multiply this way. So I get 0 minus, and then I multiply this way. So I get negative 4. That would make this plus 4. Then I got minus 4 times, I'm going to go across diagonally, 10 minus negative 6. And then I have 6, and it's 4 minus 0. So 3 times 0 is 0. So I have negative 4. All right, so this one is 60 times 4. So, well, is that true? Oh, I don't know what I'm thinking. 16 times 4 is 64. And plus 24. So, when I add those together, I have negative 68 plus 24 turns out again to be negative 44. It should be exactly the same every time. It doesn't matter what row or column you expand on, you always end up getting the same determinant. Here's your quiz questions for this video. So I just want you to find these two determinants. So the first one is a 2 by 2. That should be really fast. And the second one is a 3 by 3. So you'll have to expand on one of the rows or columns. You can do whatever one you want. You just make sure that you add and subtract according to that chart I showed on the video.